Hello and welcome back to Coalbridge Street, and this evening a rather unusual perspective. We're viewing the layout through a cheap and cheerful plastic fisheye lens, which I've blue tacked. Other sticky products are available. I've blue tacked to the iPhone. I thought it'd be interesting to film one of these sort of update chat type layout tour type things where you can see everything that's going on as I can. Oh well, as much as I can and show you anyway. So we're here, as I say, on Coalbridge Street. We have the Wantage Terminal Company's 45 tonner Batman model. We're just going to shuffle some cars around, have a bit of a chat, see where the conversation takes us, and I'm just going to hopefully unwind a little from quite a nice Sunday. Not too much in the way of chores. Enjoyed pottering around here in the Dee Valley. Anyway, let's get things moving. This layout is just DC operated, and it's actually a few weeks since I ran trains, so it's nice to be back here. Now you're going to see me come round now, because familiar viewers will realise that this lovely Ballard and Wantage covered hopper KD model is fitted with their scale head couplings, and anyone who's got one of their models will know their draft gearboxes on their own stock use a different coupler to the ones we tend to buy, and so whilst everything else uses the sort of old-fashioned KD number 5 head, I haven't been able to backwards convert the Ballard and Wantage car, which means nothing couples up to it, but it looks gorgeous, doesn't it? It looks really lovely. And the Ballard and Wantage, for those who don't know, is another one of my faux short lines that I dreamt up with my good friend Chris Mears, as a way of bringing together some of the things that we love. Just seems very evocative of New England short lines of the sort of late 60s period. This layout's set in 1973, really. If I can be as specific as that, and even more specific, the fall. So hence the scenery. And it's a really, really lovely place to just walk by and turn the lights on sometimes. That's why it hasn't been operated for a while. I just enjoy looking at it, really. Most of this time it's had the Claremont and Concord switcher parts on it, which I'm sure we'll see later. So I'm sure it's the same wherever you are in the world. It's school holidays, and it's actually quite quiet here. My partner and the children have gone for a few days away in Pembrokeshire, and I've been left home alone with the dogs, which will mean I get some work done, but it is very quiet here. So this is a bit of a way to entertain myself before going to sit down later on. I've done the chores, the washing up's done, and the dogs have been for a walk, and this is one of those things that's quite nice to do at the end of the day, isn't it? I quite often find myself at a layout at this time of night, early evening. A way to make sense, a way to sort of order my thoughts. And I don't know what you're looking at as you watch this, but I just watched the switcher, and it's, in this case, it's coupling rods. I just get mesmerised really and get lost in it. And a bit like when I'm operating Paxton Road, which sits above it in N gauge. I really love watching the coupling rods on the Class 08 and the Class 03s on that layout, much more than the larger locomotives. So before anyone asks, the KD magnets are operated by buried magnets under the track. Nothing rocket science. And the turnouts are operated by wire and tube, and that's what, if you see my hand reach in and touch these two metal protruding brass wires, or rods, they're connected to the turnout tie bars. They're just Pico turnouts. So it relies on their over centre spring. this model's got a DCC chip, so hardwired in, which has its foibles. But I've never felt the need to deconstruct it. Well, obviously I've repainted it. I've never felt the need to strip it down and take that out, but it does make, you know, you saw it stutter earlier, you know, it does make sometimes running a bit more temperamental. Okay. So off stage left, I'm just switching things around. And that's the beauty of this layout, it's all very sort of tactile and hands-on. Let's switch the 45 tonner for a 44 tonner. So the Clermont Concorde 44 tonner, which is a Rapido model. I actually sold my Batman one. So yeah, this Rapido one's lovely. Right, so now we're gonna have a bit of a problem when this arrives, as I will demonstrate. Oh, this thing is just gorgeously smooth, buttery smooth. So this was Southern Pacific liveried model from the first batch that I've repainted, using some old decals that I was sent by my friend Chris in Canada. Right, so we're kind of stuck, aren't we, here? And actually we've managed to uncouple as well. So just couple that on there. I can't do anything about that. We just have to hope that that will couple up on the way back. So we're going to need to move the barrel and wantage car back, otherwise we're not going to be able to service the Clark's Mill flour mill siding. So we will put the barrel and wantage car in Langton's siding, really, which is the rear siding. And I like this now. We've got like a back and two, haven't we? Or, you know, the loco sandwiched in the middle of the two cars. You know, that deliberate mistake, inverted commas, earlier, of leaving the barrel and wantage car on the front spur means that the next move has to sort it out. And whilst I enjoy using DCC sound on my larger layout Beaverbrook, there's something about the simplicity of, I haven't cleaned the track on this as you can tell, there's something about the simplicity of DC. And just down, off shot to the left, is my controller. It's an old Gauge Master, and it's got a nice solid construction. Feels really nice to use. It's got a backward direction switch you can hear being used, and a comfortable potentiometer knob, you know, it fits in your hand, you know where you are with it. It very, very tactile, and you lose yourself in it. I'm talking, it actually becomes completely second nature. You've got, you know, you've got no idea you're using it. And so this whole project is a layout that, without me talking, becomes a very mindful thing to operate. It's very, very, very straightforward. Two tuning forks back to back. But I love it. And probably in particular, really love the colouring of it. You know, that green boxcar with the red switcher, just gorgeous, isn't it, against the background? So the East Suffolk Railroad, eh? And that map is actually Suffolk, the county of Suffolk in the UK. The East Suffolk was a railroad that the late Ian Rice invented, and he was obviously a great inspiration to me in all my modelling. You know, whether it's British or North American, and it seems nice to be able to sort of reference it here. It feels New Englandy, if that's such a word. And I chose New England colours. I also I took a bit of inspiration from probably, is it the North Stratford or the North? I think it's the North Stratford in terms of the sort of placement of the text and the logo. So there's a bit of sort of prototype inspiration thrown in there as well. This brown Canadian Pacific boxcar is actually my dad's. He bought it mid-90s. We were both absolutely in awe of its quality. It showed everything else we had up. You know, how those lads still really are class leading even today. I think they still use the tooling. It's absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, so I have put a satin lacquer on it, but I couldn't bring myself to weather it, hence why it slightly sticks out. But it's nice to see it here. So as I say, it's quiet. Plenty of commission work on. Trying to get through a bit of the backlog that always seems to grow at this time of the year with the summer break. But our thoughts have turned to a few new print projects. I'm currently working on a follow-up to my own compendium called Ribbons. So if it's not something you've seen or heard of, have a look on my blog. Very sort of emotional, heartfelt writing about the hobby rather than sort of a how-to. Hopefully gently encouraging and inspiring. But because I felt like I'd gone as far as I could with compendium in my own voice. So Ribbons is actually a collection of other people's voices. Bear with me. So yes, it's a now we've coupled up again. So that's coming together really nicely. I'm really, really excited to bring that to everybody. That's probably going to be out in October, all being well. I'm just looking at this and wondering why that's not thrown over manually. Of course, when you're not here, everything works perfectly. So beyond Ribbons, I've got no plans for, sorry the pun, any more plan books. I found myself not really sketching plans at the moment. I feel like perhaps I've exhausted that for now. Which is okay. I think it comes and goes. There's no point trying to force these things. What I quite like to do, well, I kept saying I was never going to do it, but what I quite like to do, actually having thought about it, is a book about weathering. And I think I can tackle that subject in a different way to has been done before. I always say there's no point writing a book about weathering because Martin Welsh did such a great job. But I do have some ideas that I'd like to talk about and to share based on his work and others, obviously, which feels relevant in today's sort of over-saturated weathering space where, you know, you can buy lotions, potions and all sorts for making your models dirty. You know, someone tells you exactly what engine smoke is or frame dirt and all these sorts of things. It's like, well, come on. Let's go back to some basics and think about colours, colour temperatures, and the benefit being then that you can use the same shades across the whole scene. So you're looking at Coalbridge Street, it uses the same palette of umbral shades across everything. So the weathering on the locos make them feel part of the layout because the layout uses the same shades. That just seems totally obvious to me, but I'm not sure it is as obvious as it seems, and I think I could probably write something quite entertaining and hopefully well as illustrated. So that's in hand. That's going to take probably a year or so to put together, amongst and alongside the continuing commission work. So yeah, there we go. So we've switched a couple of boxcars. We've switched out Langtons as well. The crew are going to pop off now and go and get themselves a coffee, I think. And I'm going to see how these dogs are. So I hope that's been entertaining. I feel like I waffled on. Operation hasn't been absolutely perfect, has it? This is real life. This is filmed in one take and then shared straight up onto the internet for you to enjoy and hopefully relax with on this Sunday evening. And as usual, until next time, more soon. There's plenty on the blog every day, and I'm sure you will see some new stuff on video in the coming months. Thanks for watching.